welcome back to the one Celtic fans view this evening. Massive game at Celtic Park. Celtic versus RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Yep, and it is a massive game that Celtic must win because as it stands, Celtic have currently dropped down to 21st position in the Champions League due to the fact that Girona are currently drawing. Yeah, they're drawn against, it looks like PSV that they're playing. Yep, it's PSV that they're playing. And it just shows you the situation with the Champions League, that Celtic need to amass as many points as they can because we're slipping awfully close to that 25 spot, and when you hit the 25th spot, that's you out of the Champions League. You're no longer in it. You won't get the extra 2 games, and ultimately that's what Celtic want to do. They want to get those extra 2 games because we're slipping, and off the money and the prestige that getting to that knockout stage would mean for Celtic. And we're going to jump into a bit of Celtic news from this afternoon with regards of the young team. The young Celts, they won 3-2 this afternoon. And the young guy Cummins, they're calling him the Ardoin Pelé. Yep, they're calling young Cummins the Ardoin Pelé. And young Turley, he gets on the score sheet as well. Daniel Cummins' brace and the second half finish from Francis Turley. So the boys take home their second victory in the competition. After losing out so narrowly in the dying minutes against Atalanta on match day 3, the young Hoops were looking to bounce back. Returning to the City Stadium, the boys faced off against RB Leipzig, who had 3 points for their opening 3 games. And taking on the German side was a competitive outing from the off, with both teams stretching the game to provide an open in first few minutes in the match. Both sides looked to create early chances on opening goal. RB Leipzig having the first chance on shot from the edge of the box narrowly went past the post, but ultimately Celtic came out victors, and that's all we need to know. That's all we need to know about that game. The young Celts doing us proud. Can the main team do it this evening? Let's jump into the comments before the team is released. Jesus. And yes, the Celtic versus RB Leipzig. There's nothing seems to have broken online on the land of Twitterati, which seems to be good. But as it stands just now, Celtic have dropped 1 position in the Champions League down to 21st position. They were on 20th when at the start of the evening. We were in 20th position at the start of the evening, but the fact that Girona are currently above us, and they have extended. Somebody else must have went above us. No, it just seems to be Girona, and it seems to be on gold. I don't know how they've jumped above us, but anyway, they have. As it stands, we are currently on 21st spot with the 4 points. Anyway, let's jump into the comment section, see who is all on board this evening. Tam Mac was first in the house. Hail to Tam Mac. Joseph Dougherty, evening Baz. When you start, I'm an optimist at heart. 5-0 Celtic, 5-1 for little Joe from Little Island, Coatbridge area. Paul McCune saying, afternoon, hail. He's going for 1-0 or 2-1 Celtic. I'm going for 2-1. I don't think that we're good enough to not let in a goal against this lot tonight. Especially, I don't know. We managed a 0-0 draw against Atalanta, and it was a fantastic result. So I'll take anything from the game tonight. Anything. It doesn't really matter if it's a win. If it's a win, it's fantastic. It's a brilliant win. But when you look at the position that the Germans are in the league, and you're thinking, well, what Dortmund did to us, we are at Celtic Park. We shouldn't be fearing anyone at Celtic Park. We need to get it back to being a little bit of a fortress. I am just waiting on the Celtic official team coming out. Let's just get back to the homepage and take it from that, as well as the land of Twitter. It should be out in roughly about a minute's time, and as soon as we get it out, we'll get it along the bottom of the screen, and we'll jump back into the comments. Danny Cassie's in the house. He's saying 3-1 Celtic. Paul McCune, he's going for 1-0 or 2-1. Kevin Dunn says, Hope the Celtic fans leave the pyros indoors. We could end up with no fans at our next Champions League game. Causes delay, big fines, etc., etc. Scenarios, Sean Mahon's in, big scenarios that coming in from North London. Big Des is in the house. Evening to you, Des. Hope you've enjoyed the content on Facebook today. I'm going to start putting a little bit more out on that just to try and grow the YouTube channel a little. Anthony Cooper said this will be a tough game. It will be. It's a massive, massive tough game. It will be a tough game. I'm just double checking that Celtic are going to put this out any minute. And as soon as they put it out, they have just put up something 9 minutes ago. Team news with the little McGregor. McGregor's obviously playing. You knew, apologies, you knew McGregor would be playing. And it should be out now, the team news. Team news is out. Schmeichel, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Trusty, Taylor, McGregor, Engels, Hitati, Kuhn, Maida and Kyogo as expected from Celtic. It is the team as expected. And just give me 2 seconds just to see if the Celtic site has updated. And the Celtic site is always later. Celtic site is always later. Why did they put it out on that first? Which is a bit strange. Anyway, let's get this up onto the screen for you. And I'll just do this 2 seconds. And then I'll just give you the subs. Sinisalo, Scales, Palma, Ida, Valley. So the big news is Greg Taylor starts. Alex Valley is on the bench. Yang, McCowan, Norobski, Bernardo, Forrest, Ralston and Welsh. So the big news is Greg Taylor comes back into the team for the Champions League. That's the big shock of the night because a lot of people were expecting Alex Baye to start. And he's went with Greg Taylor. So, I mean, he's went with Greg Taylor. That'll be the headlines. Greg Taylor returns. Greg Taylor does return. And Celtic still haven't updated that site. Strange one going on with Celtic. Let me just update this so I can get it onto the screen for you. Upload that. That's massive news. That I mean, I think we all kind of expected Alex Baye to sort of keep his position in the team, but the manager has decided, do you know what? I'm going to mix it up a bit for all those that are that have been releasing the team. Just do this. Start, done. Transparent background. Download. As soon as that's downloaded, give me 2 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I need to just upload it to here. Background 2. Nope. It's background 1. There we go. And that's that. And then upload this. And by magic, that's it on the screen. So yeah, that's on the screen. You've got it now. Schmeichel, Johnson, Carter Vickers, Trusty, Taylor. Big shock. Taylor coming straight back into the team. A lot of people were saying if Taylor doesn't make it, he's definitely on his way out the door. Well, the news tonight is that Greg Taylor has made the team. And then I'm just going to get the team along the bottom for you. And I'm going to get the subs. I'll get the subs going along the bottom of the screen for you. How's about that? I just get this. And I'll just put the subs along the bench, along the front for you. So the subs should be on the screen just now. So there's the main team on the picture here. You'll see it here. That's the main team on the Schmeichel, Johnson, Carter Vickers, Trusty, Taylor, McGregor, Arnie Engels, Hitati, Kuhn, Dyson and Kyogo. The only change that you would say from the weekend is the fact that Alex Baye has been dropped to the bench in place of Greg Taylor. Which is a little bit of a shock. Anyway, the subs are, as it goes along the bottom of the screen, here, Sinisalo, Scales, Palma, Adam Ida, Alex Baye makes the bench, Yang is also on the bench, Luke McCowan, who didn't play against Aberdeen because he was cup-tied, is back on the bench. Mark Norobski is on the bench. Paulo Bernardo is on the bench. James Forrest is on the bench. as is Tony Ralston and Stephen Welsh. These two are always left at the back. I wonder why. But anyway, yeah, that's the team news tonight, the breaking team news. Tell me what you think about it in the comment section of the videos. Wow. Loose talks. Loose talks, not loose talk. Loose talk, not loose talk. No, I got the thumbnail wrong. I was rushing. And it wasn't me that done it. It was somebody else, and I'm going to get them for that. Anyway, this will be a tough game. This will be a tough game tonight, says Anthony Cooper. Let me just go back to this, just double check something. Just do this. This is what happens when you get little Filipino folk to do stuff for you online. You should just always do it yourself. I'm just checking the scores actually that are just coming in. Just give me 2 seconds. And then, why is it not working? There we go, it's working now. And go back to here. Do this. Change that just now. Nope, don't want to do that. I want to do this. This is why all these channels that have loads of folk working on just seem to work absolutely effortlessly, and just let the presenter just get on with talking. Because trying to do it all is a bit of a friggin' nightmare. Change that. There we go. That's what happens when English isn't somebody's first language. Anyway, let's jump back into the comments. Just for that, Anthony. Got that sorted. This will be a tough game. Des got faith. Hold tight and get into them. Chasing the game. We are Celtic at home. Hail, hail, everyone. Me and the Bairn are completely buzzed for this game, says Kieran. Michael says, hail, hail, my fellow Celts. Hope we're all warm and happy. On my phone with super shitey scoreboard on the telly. Jeez, Big Des, what are you even listening to that shite for? What are you listening to Rangers FM for? Really? I mean, nobody listens to Rangers FM. It is quite a Ouija thing, isn't it? It is only really Ouijas that listen to it. Although people started listening to it when the meltdowns started happening all over the place. But anyway, 2-1 the boys says for the Milton Provos. That's Davey for the Milton Provos. Everyone be careful out there. I was saying 1-0, but I can see 3-0 for us, says Kieran. I'd like to know where you get the optimism from, Kieran, because they're not a silly team. They're not a silly team, and they're not dropping a lot of goals at home. They may be in the Champions League, but they're not dropping a lot of goals. They have the best defence in the Bundesliga so far this season. But they have a few injuries, says Michael Ross. I still don't see where we're getting a big win from. Michael Ross is slightly worried. Carly says Vi should be starting. Hope Brendan Rodgers is playing. Even Greg Taylor doesn't regret it. Jeez, Christopher's coming in from France. Big Des is in the house. Michael Ross says slightly worried about Taylor. It's a bench full of winners, says Big Des. It is full of bench. Let's talk up the bench, because I think we can get sucked into if Greg Taylor's going to get pulled in from that left hand side and into the middle of the park, and if it leaves. Trusty's got the pace. I think that's why Trusty's playing, because there's been many times that when you think about it, Liam Scales gets pulled out to the left-hand side. Greg Taylor's not there because he's further up the park, and Liam Scales doesn't have the pace to get back. So for me, the managers went and made a decision, and it's as simple as that. He said, look, to bring in Greg Taylor because he's got that little bit more experience at this level. It is at Celtic Park. We know that we're going to have to defend, but we know that we're going to hit on the break. Greg Taylor's got that little bit of experience at this level, where Alex Baye had a fantastic game at the weekend, but it is a must-win game. And he knows that he's got Trusty there to get back and cover that position. That's the only thing. That's the only reason that he's going to try and use Greg Taylor more in that inverted role that he's done before, that Greg Taylor's done since Ange Postecoglou was here, and he's going to try and use that to Celtic's advantage to try and mix it up in the midfield. Because when they see Greg Taylor appearing in front of the penalty box, it's like, well, who's meant to be marking him? Do you know? You can see what the manager's kind of trying to do, but when you look at the bench, Scales is on the bench, Palmer's on the bench, Ida's on the bench, Alex Baye's on the bench, Yang's on the bench, Luke McCown's on the bench, Norobski's on the bench, and Paulo Bernardo's on the bench, James Forrest on the bench, Tony Ralston and Welsh. I think Forrest might get on, I think Bernardo might get on, and I think if Greg Taylor starts tiring towards the end of the game, due to the fact that he's not had the game time that Alex Baye's had over the last couple of weeks, I think that might be the positional changes that we may see. And people will say it's like for like, you know, why doesn't Brendan change it up a bit? There's not much that you can do when you've got a squad full of players. That the best thing that you want to happen is the stream's come bit rate. YouTube's now telling me that my internet's too fast. My internet's too fast for it. There's nothing I can do about that. Jesus, the internet speed is what it is. Anyway, Carly says that Valle should be starting. Michael Ross is slightly concerned that Taylor's starting. It's a bench full of winners, says Big Des. Professional pessimistic. Welcome to the channel, mate. Says, do you think that we should try a 3-5 back in Europe? I think Trusty, CV and Scales would be quality. I wouldn't say 3 at the back in Europe. I would say 3 at the back in domestic league. Domestic league, 3 in the back all day long. I think that you need to play the European style of football. I mean, you could try and change it to a 3-5-2, but we don't have the strikers to be able to perform at that level. We've only got the 2 strikers really. And then to change to a 3-5-2 formation, that would be the only real advantage of changing the system, I think, personally. But then you can go for a 3-5 at the back. But I think if you crowd out the midfield and you've still got the 2 attackers up front, it gives us a little bit more possibilities on the park. But I understand what you're saying, professional pessimist. Do you think that we should try a 3/5 at the back in Europe? I think that the way that we played the last game in Europe, we almost went to a back 6 in Atalanta, and I think that's what Brendan Rodgers wants to happen. You've got your back 4, and then when your midfield 2 kind of fall back into just in front of the midfield, so it's more like a 4-2-3 sort of thing. But anyway, that's Brendan Rodgers. Brendan knows what he's doing. He's the manager. He's the one that changes the team talk, and when teams are released early, he's the one that then calls a meeting in the hotel late that night to go, well, I heard some fucking numpty let the team out, so this is what we're going to do instead. So fair play to Brendan that he is in control, and we all want Brendan in control. Stuart Ramsey says, evening Baz and fellow Tims. Hail, my only concern is Taylor. It's funny that you're all saying your only concern is Taylor, because for weeks now, a lot of people are saying, Baz, you can't drop Taylor. You can't drop Taylor. Are you friggin' mad? You can't drop Taylor for that young Alex Bailey. You're absolutely bonkers, man. And now there's a lot of comments tonight saying, what the fuck? He's got Taylor in. So it just shows you. As fans, we can be quite fickle sometimes. Dermot says, guessing you'll have 20k subscribers by the League Cup final time, Baz. Well, here is hoping. It's a month away. It is a month away, and you never know. Hopefully we'll get there. My fingers are crossed, so hopefully. Cheers for that, Dermot. He's going for 1-0 tonight, and telling people to get the thumbs up. Ian Roy says, Taylor is a surprise start. Is he signing a new contract? Says Ian Roy, coming in from the good old USA. What's happening with the vote over there? Have they started voting yet? Has there been an early indication who's going to win? I'm sure I'll set up some point tonight and watch that. Big mistake, dropping the young guy for hopefully Taylor will show up, says Terence. I can't believe the comments tonight, actually. This is quite interesting, because I've got to say, the comments coming from the way that I've been reading them, and maybe I've been reading them completely wrong, but over the last sort of week or so, people have been sort of before the Aberdeen game and certainly that Atalanta game, people were like, no, you need Taylor in that team. And now the pendulum's completely swung. And is it swung because Greg Taylor hasn't signed that new contract? Is it? Well, he's maybe not even been given the contract, but he starts tonight, so let's get behind him and let's back the team and let's make some noise for the boys. Kaiser's in the house, so is Stephen Johnson. Jesus, I hope we can catch the whole Ian Roy. Good evening from a cold West Sussex, says James A. Boy. Come on, Celtic, please don't get thrashed, says Carly. Carly. Will be a hard game, Baz, says Anthony. But he thinks Celtic will win. I think Brendan Rodgers should start Trump. His big days. Professional pessimistic says fair. Carly is big shout out to people. Stephen says, and I've just the comments just jumped away up. Stephen says, just hope we can find the strength to do them 3-2. Celtic don't know, but the young boys did it this afternoon. You'll know about it when you see the boys faced in the tunnel. I don't think so, because the team they looked confident going into the tunnel. Kaiser says the best player is almost threatening players right back, so we play Taylor. Makes no sense. Dear God, Taylor over Alex Baye, said Richard. Taylor's not good enough for the Champions League. That's interesting, because it's kind of goes against the grain of what people have been saying over the last couple of weeks. But anyway, I was absolutely delusional about Dortmund game. I'm not pretending, says Carly. Kaiser, I hope you're wrong, but I've watched them and you're right. If Hatate gives possession away, don't say that, because we all know that Rio Hatate can give the ball away in that midfield. Anyway, some current scores on the doors. Match day 4. PSV Eindhoven, Girona 0. Currently, Slovan Bratislava 1, Dynamo Zagreb, team that Celtic play, 3. So, and that's in Bratislava, that game. Liverpool to play Bayern Leverkusen. Who cares about the Liverpool team? Kelly are playing though. Anyways, jump back. If Hatate gives, Keith Robertson says, if Hatate gives away any possession tonight, which he does do in a regular game, take him off. I'm sick of it, and stick on Luke McCown. He won't let us down. No, he won't. Taylor always gets targeted in Europe. He does. Michael, you know it, and I know it. I ken it, you ken it, even Patsy kens it. Stuart Ramsey says, Baz, we're allowed to change our minds on Young Valley. I know you are, but I just think it's funny, because I said for the start that I thought Alex Baye should start, and I just think it's funny when you see these things happen. Not signing a contract is why everyone wants Taylor on the bench, says Paul Baird. James Boy says, I don't remember people saying they need to start Taylor, to be honest. I thought young Baye had been deserved to keep his place. James Boy, they hadn't been saying, they all expected young Alex Baye to keep his place, but the weeks running up to this game, people were saying that they would rather play Greg Taylor than Alex Baye, which was interesting. Marcus says the fact that the opinion is split on multiple areas of the park just shows how good, or this is a cracking comment from Marcus. This is a absolutely brilliant comment from Marcus. Well done, Marcus. Cheers for this comment. The fact that opinion is split on multiple areas of the park shows just how good the squad actually is. We, the supporters, can't even agree on our best starting 11. Good titles ahead, troops. Absolutely spot on, Marcus. Spot on, mate. Absolutely. That's the comment of the night. It is, and it's true. It's the fact that we are split in multiple areas. We all can't decide who's our best at the back. We can't decide whether it's Trusty or Scales. People think that Scales should be playing before Trusty. People think that Greg Taylor should be playing before Alex Baye. Some people think that Rio Hatate should be dropping, Paulo Bernardo should be on. Some people think that Paulo Bernardo, Luke McCown should be playing together, and some people think that Paulo Bernardo and Arne Engel should be playing together. So that's a fantastic position to be in. As a Celtic supporter, it is absolutely brilliant to be... What a goal that was. Who's that? Fulham. Jesus. Sorry, I'm watching Sky News and the guy basically done a back heel flick for Fulham. It must have been, I don't know when it was, but anyway. But yeah, what a fantastic position it is for Celtic to be in. It's finally reminiscent of teams gone by in bygone eras. I mean, certainly under the Martin O'Neill era, we had players that could come on and make a difference. And you know, it comes back to the old, can you play Neil Lennon and Paul Lambert in the same team? I mean, that was the conversation back in the day. It was, can you play they two in the team, and how can you accommodate bringing in Neil Lennon when you've got Paul Lambert, who had won the Champions League? Remember, Paul Lambert had won the Champions League, so he knew how to do it in Europe, and that got people talking then. And it's great that we've got that with this team. Anyway, cheers, Marcus, for that comment. Professionally optimistic says Saunders and Camilla. I don't know, he's talking about American politics. Jason says, I have a feeling that Maeda is going to have a superb game tonight, and minus one or two crosses that go into the stands. It's standard for Dyson. I just think that he runs that fast sometimes that rather than hit it on the inside of the boot, he hits it on the outside of the boot and it just goes poof. Well, but let's hope he does have a fantastic team tonight. Best team was the semi-final team. It was the semi-final team, but there's Sky News just putting the Celtic team up now also. The managers did say that he was going to swap it up a bit. Why he took young Alex Bailly off can only be due to experience. And maybe the pressure of playing at Celtic Park, maybe the noise and the pressure, and he doesn't want to put that on young Alex by his shoulders as yet. But if Greg Taylor's having a nightmare, he'll get taken off straight away. He'll get taken off at the first opportunity, and he will be replaced by Alex Bailly. And I'll just see, Carly's got hot and spicy chicken strips. I'm just trying to find a comment that I've seen on the first side. Engels class. Big Des says, shout out to my twin boys, Jay and Zach. Big shout out to Jay and Zach. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. And just tell your dad you're needing some cash. Just tell him you're needing some cash. And then he's got to give you it, because it's like it's happened on YouTube, so he has to give you it. Harry Wilson says, professional pessimistic. Let me just, sorry, there's some of the comments just disappeared. As I said, it's the same. It's a squad game, Big Des. Yeah, is that young Bailly will come on at some stage. Engels isn't wee. He's quite tall. Yeah, I know. I agree. The selection headaches are brilliant, says Ian. It is brilliant, and I think that at last we should. There's a lot to be happy about as a Celtics supporter just now. I mean, if you look back the squad under Brendan Rodgers first time, I don't think it was as good as this. I mean, I posed the question, and it's not the right time to answer it, but statistically, when we were about 6 games into the season, I asked the question, is this team better than the Invincible season? Statistically, it was at that point, going by number of goals we had scored and the fact that we'd had clean sheets. Now, I think that this squad is now on the verge of becoming better. Now, it's not going to eclipse. It's not eclipsed yet. I mean, it won't do unless we go unbeaten until the end of the season in the league. And this is no disrespect to that team, but I think this team, and I think Brendan will know as well, that this team is on the verge of something special. And if he can get in the players that he wants, the next window and in the next window, the next 2 windows are important for Brendan, because these will be the ones that will determine whether he's going to walk away after the 3rd year of his contract. It's not the night to talk about it, but I think that we are on the verge of something special with Brendan Rodgers and this current Celtic team. Anyway, Big Day says it's a squad game. Danny says, yet again, I think that the big scales would have been on, but he's not. James Boy says, I know one thing we'll definitely agree with. Bain should not start. Bain's nowhere near the team, thankfully. Bain is nowhere near the team. which is quite good. I'm get the analysis. Channel's done all right tonight. And Greg Taylor does put in great crosses into the box when he runs up the pitch. If you look, now I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because one of the pass that he made to Luke, was it Luke McCowan? Yeah, the pass that he made to Luke McCowan the other week, where he pointed to Luke McCowan and told Luke where he wanted him to run to, and Alex Baye put the ball, slide ruled the ball through about 3 Aberdeen players, and then Luke McCowan gets on. It wasn't Aberdeen, it was playing. Doug's always got to make a noise when I start talking. Anyway, Dallas on VAR duty for PSV game and made a mess of both feet on the ground. Who cares about that? Greg Taylor, Sinisalo has done a great job getting paid to watch games and learn. I think that what he's learning off the pitch, what he's learning on a week-to-week in training will be invaluable, and I think that's why Brendan Rodgers doesn't go out and buy a first choice goalkeeper for him not to take over from Schmeichel next season or the season after, if Schmeichel takes up the two season option that he has. If Schmeichel wins a treble this year and goes, do you know what, you can't beat that, gaffer, I'm going to go out on a high, I want to go out on a high. You know, he's 38 now, and it's like, unless Celtic have got automatic qualification into the Champions League next season, does he really want to have to fight through a Champions League qualification round, and then Celtic get put out, and then, you know, it then becomes what could have went out on a high, then becomes damn. But anyway, we don't want to talk about that yet. That's 6 months or so, seven months away. Anyway, I've liked and subscribed, says Ian. I hope you had. Taylor won't have a nightmare. We've got to start getting behind some of our players, God's sake. Start with some positivity, says Jim. Might like the stream, boys, says Big Chewy. Dembele and St Clair would easily get in this squad. I think that here's the thing, right? Would Lee Griffiths get into this squad? There's a shout for you. Would Lee Griffiths get into the squad? That's a chat for another day. But anyway, we're talking about the team tonight, and we're talking about the people that are on the bench. And I think that it's a fantastically strong bench, and I think it's fantastic that Brendan Rodgers has that good feeling at Celtic Park just now that the squad, it's not as big a squad as it was last year, but I tell you one thing, it's in a fantastic place. Anyway, all I can hear is the sirens and fireworks, says Carly. Kuhn could have a huge game for us, says Jason Lee. Hooping Hound Dog, evening Baz. I think that we're going to do well tonight. Casper could easily be in supporting role next season for Sinisalo, and then into coaching if he wants that route. I don't think he'll go down that route with Celtic. I think he knows that he's got the year, he's got the possibility of the 2 years, and I think that Brendan Rodgers, it all depends what else happens with transfers, and that's a chat for another day. Eddie would definitely get into the team. Yep, definitely. Plus, I think we trust he might be okay for the night. I'd say Dan Cassie is going to be brilliant tonight. You can just see his pace. What Brendan told Maeda has improved much. Good evening, everyone, says David. Michael says, got my cat in fucking fireworks. Oh, I forgot, it's fireworks night back in Scotland. See, living in Spain, the little fireworks at ridiculous times, like 8 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, not just at night. Anyway, tell me in the comments, do you think that Lee Griffiths and Musa Dembele and Odsonne Edouard would fit into this current team of Celtic players? Casper will need to make a big few saves for us tonight. He's made some massive saves in the Champions League already, and I think that's what's good about, I mean, if you think of the Dortmund game, I mean, Kasper Schmeichel made some fantastic saves, and it could have been in double figures that night if it wasn't for Kasper Schmeichel. And I think that we forget about that when we see the scoreline. And even in Italy, he made some cracking saves in Italy as well late on in the game. Here in Portugal, Baz 2, fireworks, said Irishman in Porto. Lee Griffiths would have been playing when Kyogo's goals away from home dried up. Yeah, he would have, Keith Robertson. You're pretty much right. I think Lee Griffiths, would we have went for Adam Ida then if we'd had Lee Griffiths in the team? Doubt it, but then Lee Griffiths would have been past it by now. Anyway, I'm in the stadium now. Leipzig haven't brought that many fans. It says Chow Pill. It's good that you're in the stadium, nice and early, and it's good that you're getting a reception, because there's many times I've been in the stadium and you don't get a reception worth a boot. Boosting Dumbelly would potentially, says J Bot. Jota would slot. Who? Well, there's an interesting one, because if you're going to play Jota, you're not going to play Nico Kuhn. So who then gets the game? Do you know? And that would be interesting. Jota versus Nico Kuhn. Who would get into the team? Who would be the more productive in the team? Jota with his trickery, and that's an interesting one. Dumbelli would 100% get into this team, says Michael Ross. Johnny Briggs says you could wash the cars. Man, fireworks, simple. A lot of people complain about fireworks. Dumbelli, too good for the SPFL. Pyro, this mob will think it's all about the Celtic. Baz, what about Hooper? Gary Hooper. I don't think so. I mean, Hooper was good, but he couldn't wait to get out of Celtic. He couldn't wait. He was one of those players that, I mean, they all ultimately couldn't wait, apart from Lee Griffiths. The rest of them couldn't wait to get out of Celtic to go for a big payday. But that's an interesting one. But then again, it's a different era. You know, they're years apart. Football different then. Could Gary Hooper score against the low-lying block that we have now in Scottish football? Could Lee Griffiths score against the low-lying block that we have consistently in Scottish football? It's a different game altogether than it was just even 4 years ago when Lee Griffiths played for Celtic. So talking about it and players coming back, it's could they play against the modern style? And I think ultimately that's why they played football at their time and they were successful at their time. And that's why the players that play now are successful. I think trying to adapt, but then players adapt anyway. That's a talk for another day. I would love Jota to come back, says Tim. Jason, that would be very nice. I'd take Big Wanyama back any day in his prime. Could you imagine Victor Wanyama and Callum McGregor and Rio Hitati in a midfield? In fact, I mean, Scott Brown played with Wanyama, so Callum McGregor, that would be something else. We should maybe do a video about that. Anyway, I'd love to see Kyogo and Guacamakas as a front two. Interesting. We did see them as a front two. They never just got much time to play together. They were always, it was brought off. The manager never played two up front. We ain't keeping Alex Bailly. We're not keeping Alex Bailly, but we're not keeping Greg Taylor either. So who are we going to bring in? Because we're going to have to bring someone in the next transfer window. Chow Pill. We might not be keeping him, but we're not keeping Greg Taylor either by the looks of it. And it's going to be interesting, because we're definitely going to go out and buy a left back at the next transfer window. If not, get one in on loan. And we all know who that's going to be. Anyway, imagine Messi in his peak at the Celtic strip. Kuhn is far better than Jota, says Anthony. Even though, says Jim F. Was picking the daughter up. Kuhn is better than Jota. That's an interesting one. It's maybe one that we should do a poll on some day. Guys, KT will be our left back next season. I don't know about next season, but the second half of the season, it's looking like he may be our left back the second half of this season. So let's all just wait patiently until January comes for that. There's a lot of football to get played before then, and we're wishing talks out the door. Jason Lee, guys, KT will be our left back next season, as a lot of people are saying. Let's jump over to the land of the Twitterati to see and just see the first comment. Taylor, for sake, and a guy jumping out the window. Big performance against Leeds. Don't concede first. Keep the pressure on. Taylor, guy covering his face. My BT Sport got cancelled. Who cares? Taylor ahead of Bailly. Interesting. I would have started Bailly, but let's go. Everyone's upset about F off Taylor. You should have started wee Bailly for the Valley, come on the hoops. Everyone's a bit concerned about Greg Taylor starting, which is interesting because it was only a few weeks ago that people were like, young Alex Bailly can't get a game before Greg Taylor. It's impossible. But when you look at the Taylor for F's sake, a clown on paper compared to Alex Bailly. Must be injury to play that donkey. It's scandalous to drop Alex Bailly, by the way. Taylor has proved him time and time again. He's not cut out for this level. Great starting lineup, strong and physical. Greg Taylor, get yourself so far to and we have a Barca wonder kid who's outperformed Greg's entire season in a couple of games. It's interesting conversations tonight on the land of Twitter. Anyway, I hate Taylor. I hate the Taylor haters. No wonder he's leaving, says Chilpel. I think he does have a Twitter, but that's one thing. I never go on. I go onto Twitter just to have a look for 2 or 3 minutes and then I come back off. But people on Twitter, there's always been a massive Celtic community on Twitter for the last... What's this? This is 2024 for the last 15 years anyway. Anyway, let's move on for that. Scottish lads get some stick. Andy Robertson for Liverpool next season. Not a chance. Alex Bailly over Taylor any day. I want to know what the guys BT got. Why the guys BT? I don't know why his BT got cancelled. Imagine going on. Imagine going on to Celtic, put the team on it straight onto Twitter. My BT got cancelled tonight. My direct debit didn't have enough money in the bank. Help. Oh dear, chill. I don't hate Taylor, but he always gets targeted as the weak link in Europe because he always comes inside. Let's hope he has a great game. Only in Europe. Too many managers here tonight, says Jim. I'm not a manager, I just sit and host the programme and I just play devil's advocate sometimes and give an opinion, which is called the One Celtic Fan's View, because every single Celtic fan has a view on this channel and it's nice to see that the other channels are jumping on the bandwagon. And it's, what did they say? Who cares? Anyway, the chat is flying tonight, Baz. Well done, take a breath. It is that. We need a left back of quality and running power of Alistair Johnston, says Jim. Yeah, I think we do. But will we get it or not? Do you think that is Kieran Tierney? Could you imagine Kieran Tierney? This is Brendan Rodgers' dream scenario. Kieran Tierney comes to Celtic in January. He proves his fitness. And he has a clause that allows Celtic to buy him back for 10 million. And then Celtic then spend 10 million on Kieran Tierney. And then Kieran Tierney finds the form that he had the first time at Celtic. Now, we all know the pace that Kieran Tierney had, and it was electrifying. And the metal that he had. We've never replaced that since he left. We've got someone on the right-hand side of the pitch who's of a similar quality. Would that be Brendan Rodgers' dream scenario, to get Kieran Tierney back and have the ultimate defence as far as Brendan Rodgers is concerned? Have the running power of Ali Johnston and Kieran Tierney from the fullbacks, have the emergency running power of Austin Trusty and the metal mentality of Big Cameron Carter-Vickers. Do you think that that's what Brendan Rodgers' dream team is in the defence? KT would be a disaster. KT will come to Celtic in January and will be injured in February. Alistair Johnston is awesome, is my favourite player. 50 million at least. I'm glad Taylor is running his contract down, says Johnny Briggs. How much would it be asking for Kuhn? Now that inquiries are coming in, said Richard. Well, the news coming out of the good old German media is the fact that Celtic value him over 10 million euros, which is around about £9 million, so we'll wait and see. People letting their heart rule their head regarding Kieran Tierney. Taylor will be brilliant tonight, said Chilpel. Let's hope about Who be the hog down? Don't worry, Baz. You're original, the one Celtic fans view. Yeah, I know. And it's, you know, when people copy you, it's the biggest form of flattery. It is as simple as that, isn't it? When people copy your channel, it is the biggest form of flattery. Been here since 2010. We're not going anywhere on this channel. Just remember that. This channel has been a Celtic channel since 2010. This channel, the first Celtic video that went out was the very first day that Neil Lennon was made manager. I've been doing Celtic videos since then, and I'll be doing Celtic videos lot longer than that. Anyway, well, some people may come and go due to job opportunities. We'll still be here. Hannah and Baz, score prediction for tonight. I'm going to go for 2-1. I said it earlier. I said it the past couple of days. I think 2-1. 2-1 will be the scoreline tonight. I think that Celtic will be solid in defence. I think that we'll hit them on the break. I think if we score first, it'll upset them. They're going to then come back attacking at Celtic in style with some force. And then they're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Celtic, and I think they'll get a goal, which will put them level. But then ultimately, I think Celtic will hit them on the break around about the 80th minute to then go on and score the second, and then it'll be hold on to your chairs, ladies and gentlemen, because we will be in for the ride of your life for the last 6 to 8 minutes of the game, and then a further 5 minutes of added extra time, and then Celtic will ultimately be 2-1 champions tonight. 2-1 winners, champions, I fucking wish. Just trying to read some of the troops. Troops watching the One Celtic fans community. We're all in one family in here, says Big Des. Yep, Celtic would need to spend 10 million just to get T back. It never happening. Paul Baird, we're going to have to spend 10 million on a quality type of player that Brendan Rodgers wants for that position. We spent 3.75 million on Bernabe, Alexandro Bernabe. That didn't work out. We brought in Greg Taylor. He's done his best. We've never managed to get anybody. We've looked around for long enough. Brendan Rodgers must know that the quality of the person that he wants in that position. Alex Bailly is fantastic, but we've got him on loan. There is that possibility but he's never going to come to himself. You don't know what might happen. Let's face it. We spent the summer thinking, is Jota going to sign yes or no? So you never know. And Jota went on his little merry around the world. Baz, quick poll. What's the quick poll? Far too late. It's 25 past. I suppose there's still half an hour to go. Right, a quick poll. An easy one. Yeah, there's an easy one for you. Nothing to do with the game tonight, but it's just because we're talking about the situation with Kieran Tierney. Would you take Kieran Tierney back? Yes or no? 3-1 to them. Richard is saying, oh my goodness. Andrew O'Hare saying 3-1 Celtic. Stephen Johnson's going 3-2 Celtic. KT would be great. We need a homegrown player for the quota, and maybe he'll stay fit. Who knows? Des, you got your big poll. Would you take KT back? And we're split right down the middle again. We're split right down the middle again as fans so far. It's only 41, 42, 43. The votes are coming in. Would you take KT back? We'll run that for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'm off to the pub to watch the game. When you're injured that long, there's no coming back, KT, says Johnny Briggs. Johnny, see, the thing is there was a player that Celtic took a few years ago. There was a player that we brought in, and he had a broken leg at one point, and he was out for a long time. He was out of the game for a long time, and he'd been sold for 10 million from Hearts. And Craig Gordon, and people forget about that. And Craig Gordon came back and had a fantastic career. Craig Gordon then went on to break his leg again after he left Celtic, and he's made a return to the Scotland team. So you never say never. You never say never. And I'm just playing devil's advocate. I mean, I've always said that it doesn't really work out for a second time when a player comes back. But you know, I've got to level it up. It's the Libran in me. Don't worry about it. Anyway, would you take KT back? 47% yes, and 53% no. Interesting. Anyway, let's jump to it. 3-1 to them. Taylor own goal and a hat-trick, says Richard. We have to win, so hopefully leave some space at the back. Let me just get the squad. I know the squad. The Champions League places now. As it stands, the Girona game is still 0-0. Celtic are still in 21st position. So nobody's jumped above us from the earlier games, which is good. But we do play on the Tuesday night. No, we started off 21st, so they've drawn. So they've only moved. No, they have moved up. They moved up a point. That's what's moved us down, because we're in 20th. So yeah, we've moved down because Girona's gained a point for their draw. So it's just a worry that we're down in that 21st position, because if we've got any ambition going into the last game, we need to be at least 3 points clear of 24th position, because when we go to Aston Villa, the last game of the Champions League, we're going to have to be at least 3 points clear of 23rd position to have any hope in hell. And hopefully by that time that we get to the Aston Villa game, we'll be that far up the table that we will know whether a win. Hopefully the Aston Villa game will then become irrelevant as far as Celtic are concerned going into the next round. Right, I am going to 76, 79, 81 votes. Go on, let's try and get it up to 100 votes. There's 262 people currently on the live. Romantic pish having KT back, says Michael Ross. I'd love to win tonight, but I'll take a draw. Chelpa, I'll take a draw all day long, because I think a draw, this game's a massive. I think a draw this game is bigger than the Atalanta game. I'm going to say that just now. If it's a draw tonight, this is a bigger result than the Atalanta game. Not only because we're at home, not because of where RB Leipzig have been in the league over the last, since the beginning for weeks now. They've been at the top of the league in Germany. Dortmund were in 7th position when they played us. So, and they absolutely annihilated us. So anything tonight would be a fantastic result. We're on 89 votes. 89 votes. I need 11 more votes from the 252 people that are watching. There's been over 1,650 people watched the live so far. Jason Lee says, the thing about KT was once, but way back, you'll not be able to sell them for a profit. Yeah, that's true. Breaks are a big difference. We're on 90 votes. Come on, I need 10 more votes. It's at 50%. 45 people think yes, 45 people said no. 94. It's just the fans that are still here with half an hour to go are still, it's 50-50, 94. Come on, I need 6 votes. 4 votes. Bored waiting now, says Chowpil, because he got in the stadium too early. Cheers. Thanks Chowpil, that you're bored waiting. Hank says, enjoy Buzz, he's away for a pint. Jason Lee says, get yourself a beef pie. For Celtic, it'll probably cost you about 10 quid. Right, we're at 100 votes. End the poll. And it's split right down. They managed to steal a percentage. How can you steal a percent when it's 100? What is YouTube playing at? It's 100 votes. It's 100 votes and they've stole a percent. How can YouTube steal a percent on a solid 100 votes? Absolutely. Go and feed your pet hun. Only flares in paradise tonight will be the trousers. Oh, I forgot flares are back anyway. Beef pies are probably the best thing the English ever created. Jesus. No, they've not. They've never created anything decent. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for the evening. It is 7:30 Celtic Park time. Kickoff is in half an hour. I'm going to let you all get ready for the game. You'll be jumping over to the TV channels. You'll be jumping over to watch crazy whatever. Thank you for watching tonight. I will jump on as soon as the game has finished. Who wins then, Baz? Well, it looks like the yes wins. That people will take KT back by 1%. I don't know how that happened. Happens every time, Paul Bear. It does happen every time, and it's strange. It's weird. Mon the Hoops. Tim Who says Big Des. Tamak says Hail Hail. Mon the Hoops says Michael Ross. Grab Boy, who's just in the door. Where you been? We've been on for 54 minutes. And you're just coming in. Hail Hail says, Cineres, YouTube don't count the creators' vote. I can't vote on it. I can't vote on it. That's the thing. I can't vote on it. Stephen Johnson says, Hail Hail Baz. And jumping all over the sofa when we score, says Jamesy. And boy. Kaiser, drink along. Celtic World Troops. Big Des says, jump along to that. Yeah, jump along to see Kaiser. And I think he should start his own channel rather than that Celtic World channel, to be perfectly fair. I joined, Lanky says, just joined. I'm glad I missed the KT poll. But like they've left 5 years ago, and you know you want her back. And no, thanks, says Lanky. Where have you been hiding? You've been releasing the team. Tamax says, hey, Chilpel says, had to leave early because of the fireworks in Strathclyde Park. And fireworks for the kids, Baz, says Graboy. One vote was spoil vote, says Trump. This is true. Anyway, with over 1,606 people being on the live, 234 currently on the live. Yep, I have Baz D Celtic DNA. It's Kaiser. I have one, Baz Celtic DNA. Right, we'll get that one doing the lives then. Get that one doing the lives. What are you doing, you mental case? Get that one doing the lives. You can easily sort it. You can do it. Get a drink along on your own channel, mate. Anyway, I'll catch you all later after the game this evening. We are sitting on 19,546 subscribers. It is going up and down on a daily basis, and let's hope we can get it up to the 20,000 before the cup final, because that would just be the icing on the cake. We've got a month to find just under 450 odd subscribers. Let's see if we can do that. Have a fantastic evening. Come on, you boys in green. Fucking get into this lot.